largest of any port nationwide. When China began a 3-year period of economic recovery and consolidation in 1949, local governments took over the running of the nation's ports. They were placed under direct state ownership and management in the first 5-year plan, which ran from 1953 to 1957. The major trade goods at the time were coal and building materials. A major boost to trade came in the 1970s when China began re-establishing relations with a variety of nations, including 2 major economies, Japan and the United States. Between 1973 and 1978, Shanghai built 24 new shipping berths, as well as renovating older ones. In the 1980s came the country's reform and opening up, and a resulting explosion in trade volume, which overwhelmed the existing ports. Shanghai declared clearing the ports to be a government priority and began introducing shipping containers and the equipment to handle them. The growth may have been robust, but cargo was still handled in the old way. Shou's son is now the general manager at the shipping company and recalls when there were 14 docks along the Huangpu River until the late 20th century when the ships got too big for them.
In the early 1990s, the ships docked along the Huangpu River and the cargo was carried off into the warehouses. Then we needed to figure out which warehouses your cargo was in and go claim it. It was all manual work and we were worn out. Now things are quite different, given that goods are being shipped in containers and we no longer have to claim them by ourselves.
Port modernization became a major focus of the Shanghai government in the 1990s. Shanghai International Port Group has primary responsibility for the city's upgraded maritime trade facilities. Founded in 1988, SIPG built and expanded the Yangshan Deep Water Port between 2002 and 2008. The conglomerate began the installation of smart port equipment in Yangshan in 2014. SIPG says Shanghai's container throughput for 2018 was over 40 million units. That's a worldwide record for the 9th straight year, and Yangshan accounted for some 44% of it. With the city established as a key and modernized international shipping center, port workers like Huang Hua will be looking forward to handling even more of Shanghai's ever-increasing trade. Yuwen, ICS for CGTN, Shanghai.
All right, then a quick run through the Forex update for you as well. The Kenyan shilling is our focus. It's still flirting with that 1-2 level. The more interesting data, however, comes on the tax side. The target for this fiscal year, which comes to an end at the end of June, was to raise about $16 billion in tax revenue. But by the end of May, the government had barely collected about $13 billion in tax revenue. So effectively, in the next 4 weeks or so, the state has to scramble to find $3 billion out of nowhere, which isn't going to happen. But strictly speaking, the deficit for 6.8% for this fiscal year, that's clearly off the table at this point in time. Right then, that's where we're going to be leaving this edition of Global Business Africa. As always, we'd like to hear your thoughts on the content you've seen here in the last hour or so. Several ways of getting your thoughts back to us, all of them on your screens right now. I'm Ramah Nyang in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Thank you for your company in the last hour. The World Today is up next from Washington, D.C.